Alright, so in this video we talk about unit fraction. That's the first part of the fraction, of first type of fraction we're going to talk about. And the unit fraction are basically the most important types of fractions, right? And why is that? That is because they are the most basic parts of fraction. There is no fraction smaller than the unit fractions. You see, so the unit fraction basically is the most important because it's the foundation. All other fractions stem from unit fractions. For example, 3/4. 3/4 means 1/4, 1/4 again, and 1/4 again. So here you have 3/1/4, giving you 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3. 3/4. It can be helpful to think of the number down as the identity of the fractions. You see, when you're adding fractions together, you don't add the number down because the number down represents the identity. 3/4 represents the fact that these are fourths. The identity of this fraction is that this represents fourths. So adding 1/4 and adding 1/4 and adding 1/4 will give you 3/4. You won't want to add the numerator and add the denominator. You're going to get 3/12, which is essentially the same thing as 1/4 actually. But later we're going to come back to this. If we have 2/5, we can break this down to 1/5 and 1/5, right? This is going to give us 2/5. Once again, the number down is like the identity of the fraction. It can also be helpful to put it on a number line. Let's say this represents 0 and this represents 1. Where is 1/3 going to be? What's the identity? Third. So why don't we divide this into 3 parts? 1, 2, 3. This is 1/3. What of 1/4? We divide this into 4 parts. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. This will represent 1/4. Alright, we can still put it on a number line again and say something like this. This represents 0, this represents 1. Let's divide this into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will represent 1/5. So it's basically easier to see it in this way. If you were to divide this into 6 parts, this will represent 1/6. Alright, and it's good to know that when unit fractions are involved, the fraction with the smaller denominator is actually higher. We don't think of it like 8 is bigger than 2, therefore 1/8 must be bigger than 1/2. No, actually, the fraction with the smaller number is higher. And the reason that is because when you divide something, the less you divide it, the bigger it is. This is 1/2, and this is 1/2. Now, this is 1/4. Each of these represents 1/4. So the more you cut this down, the smaller it becomes. You see, the more you break something, the smaller it becomes. Now, when you break something into 2 pieces, you basically have 1/2 here, 1/2 there. When you break it more into 4 pieces, each piece is going to be a smaller size. So this is basically the whole idea of unit fractions.